RightToBearJer here doing another video.
Another one.
So, anybody that knows me knows that I'm very particular about the shooting ranges that I visit, right? Like, I just don't go shoot anywhere because if a shooting range isn't properly maintained or operated, as far as safety protocol is concerned, you can die, right? So with that being said, anytime that I'm at a shooting range where I don't like the vibe, where I can see that the employees don't give a fuck or the customers are being irresponsible, I leave. Like, I'm just not going to be there. Like, it's not worth dying over putting holes in paper from a long distance, right? So there's a scene in Atlanta, the TV show starring Donald Glover, aka Childish Gambino. And in one of the episodes, I think it's the first season, he goes to the shooting range, right? And in the scene, he rents a firearm. And they take the firearm out of the case. They give him the firearm. They give him the box of ammunition, and he goes in there. And then I think he shoots. I don't remember. I don't really watch that show, but I did see that scene. And I remember watching that scene and thinking, this is so unrealistic that this is just like, I chuckled. Like, there's no shooting range in America.
This is America.
That is going to allow somebody to walk in there with an uncased firearm without being kicked the fuck out, right? Like, it's just not going to happen. Your firearm has to be cased until you get it to the firing line. I've been to shooting ranges in Minnesota, in Arizona, in Florida, in Georgia, in goddamn Iowa. I've been to shooting ranges all across the United States, in Washington, and that's just what they do. Like, your firearm is cased until you get it to the firing line. Like, that's just that's just shooting 101, right? So I'm like, this is absolutely ridiculous. They needed an expert on the set to really tell them that this is just not going to fly. This is 3 years ago, maybe. I don't know when that first season was. Today, I'm at this shooting range in Forest Park, Georgia, right? And I'm waiting in line because they're, trying to respect the social distancing. And I'm waiting to get into the shooting range to try out my Uzi. Check out my Uzi video, by the way. It's coming soon. And out from the car, I look across the parking lot, and out from this SUV gets out this big shotgun shug looking motherfucker. Like, he gets out his vehicle and he pulls out the vehicle and a magazine fed shotgun. I think that's what it was. Either that or it was some type of rifle. I didn't look too hard. And he's like carrying it. It's like out of the case, and he's in the goddamn parking lot. And I'm looking at the dude like, is he about to up this motherfucker and air out the parking lot? Like, I start getting nervous because it's so unfathomable that somebody would do this, that he must mean us harm. I'm lacking, right? Like, I had some, issues or whatever, so I don't have my firearm on me. So I'm looking at him like, holy shit. And he walks up and he gets in line. I'm like, oh, hell no. No, sirree, Bob. I am leaving. I grabbed my bag. I got in the car, and as I'm driving off, they must have saw him on camera because somebody that worked at the shooting range went outside, and they're talking to him. And I'm like, I'm getting out of here. I'm not going to, because if you're that stupid and you don't know basic firearm safety, who knows what the hell you're going to do in an actual shooting range, right? So I leave. As I'm driving off, they're talking to him, whatever. I drive about 15, 20 minutes down the road to Stockbridge, right? In Stockbridge, Georgia, and there's another shooting range in Stockbridge. I'm gonna try to, because I'm going back to Minnesota, tomorrow, and I want to fire off my Uzi before I leave. So I get to the shooting range in Stockbridge, right? And I walk in the shooting range in Stockbridge, and I'm looking through some stuff, and I look at the counter, and lo and behold, guess who's at the fucking shooting range with a motherfucking magazine-fed shotgun?
Surprise, motherfucker.
And I'm like, you got to be kidding me. Like, they must have kicked him out, and he's in the middle of the lobby with his shotgun just chilling. And then there's another guy behind him that has a rifle with a strap around the shoulder, and he's just standing there too. And I'm like, y'all don't see this? Like, what are y'all doing? Like, how do y'all know that this ain't gonna air this mother trucker out? Like, what is going on here? So I start getting nervous as hell again, and I'm like, this is like real life. Like, they really do that down here. Like, this is so damn unsafe. So I start getting nervous and shit. Finally, I guess he left, or they kicked him out again, and then him and his girl left. And I'm just like, dude, what are you doing? Like, what are you doing here? Like, basic firearm safety principles. You know what I mean? And it kind of just goes to show, I think the moral of this is that some states, should require firearms training before you're able to buy a gun, right? Like, I'm as pro-gun as it comes, but seeing shit like that down here, I'm not gun control, but that's something that we really need to be educated on, because that's just flat out unsafe, right? Why are you walking around with uncased firearms? Because technically, if your firearm is holstered, then it's cased. So if you're at a shooting range and your firearm is in a holster, then it's cased. So they'll let you walk around a shooting range with a firearm in a holster, whether that's a hip holster, a pocket holster, a fucking ankle holster, for whatever dumbass reason you want to wear one of those, a shoulder holster, whatever. It's cased. But to walk around with a gun in your hand at a shooting range, you're asking for trouble at the best, and at the worst, you're asking to get your ass shot. Right? Because I'm looking at dude and I'm like, if you so much as lift that bitch past your kneecap, I'm putting one in it. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, you just clearly uneducated. He looked like some hood Negro, had a fucking jersey on, whatever. And I'm just like, I'm not going to say anything to him because it's not my place. But you would never shoot at my shooting range if I owned one and you were doing that. Right? So that's just basic education that we need as far as a requirement before you're able to own a gun, because these fools out here, the state of Georgia doesn't require you to take a class. The state of Minnesota requires you to take a class before you're able to buy a firearm and carry it in public, a Minnesota permit to carry class, and a lot of states do. Georgia, I can leave here. I can go to the gun store. If I pass a background check, I'm leaving with a gun that day. You know what I mean? No matter if I have the most education, the NRA president, or if I have the least amount of education, one of these ragtag fools off the street. So it's just something that we really need to just be aware of and, have the wherewithal to just, hey, if I don't know something, let me go take a class. That's why I do what I do, because I understand that you're not going to be as comfortable taking a class through somebody who thinks that you being shot in the middle of the street like a dog is justified. So that's why I do what I do. But it's like, geez Louise, dude. So anyway, that was just my take. It kind of bugged me today. Please like, please subscribe, please share. I'm going to be doing a lot more of these. I could talk about this stuff for days. But anyway, pick the guns up. Have a good one.
Georgia, Georgia.